Okay, hopefully this is working. Okay, it's 2 p.m. UK time. Thank you so much for joining this live chat. Let me know in the comments just quickly if the audio is okay. There we go. Great, got all your comments coming up here, guys. First of all, I want to say thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. I know it's a short notice live stream, and some of you may be more kind of able to watch live streams than usual with obvious events that are going on all the way around the world right now. And that's kind of one of the topics I wanted to discuss, and some of the impacts it's had on me personally, and yeah, in terms of the aquascaping world, etc. And also, I just wanted to bring some sort of positivity. You know, we're living in an interesting time right now. I'm not sure how serious things are in terms of this COVID-19. All I know is it's affecting pretty much everyone around the globe in one way or another. How much it's affecting people's health, it's very sad to hear that people are dying, etc. But I think the bigger impact is actually on our day-to-day lives and how we're living them, with being quarantined, and in the UK we're advised to stay at home if possible, etc. And I know some other countries are actually not allowed out of home, and it's a really unique time. So first, let me know where you're from in the world in the comments, and let me know how you're affected, personally by it. Really interested to know. I can't keep an eye 100% on all the comments. I do have a couple of moderators on hand as well, but have a chat amongst yourselves as well. And it's all about kind of building a bit of a positive community today, and using aquascaping as a tool to do that. My absolute passion is aquascaping, and in particular the kind of therapeutic value and the way it can bring people closer together, connect people with nature. And just because we're going through this turbulent time right now, it doesn't mean that that's any different. If you are quarantined and you have an aquarium at home, then this is a perfect opportunity to maybe maintain it a bit more than you usually do, enjoy it more than you usually do. I don't know about you guys, but I often find I'm 90% of the time just looking at my tank to look at what I need to do next to it to maintain it, what's wrong with it. Maybe it's time to look at it in a different light, and what's actually really beautiful about it, what you enjoy about it, and just kind of use it to relax and take your mind away from potentially more anxious thoughts. So that's kind of the main message that I wanted to get across today in this stream. And yeah, I think let's just have a look at the comments right now, so where everyone's from. Wow, loads of you. Thanks for watching, guys. Hawaii UK. Shout out to Hawaii, one of my main supporters, along with Tropica. Audio is coming from the camera, not the mic. Yeah, that's a bit of an issue, isn't it? Is the audio not that great, guys? I'm just going to experiment with the audio just a second. Apologies for this. Okay, I'm just pulling the microphone out and see if that's any different. No, it's not any different. That's annoying. Okay, what's the battery life like? I think it's because I've got the battery and the mic at the same time. Let's just try this a second. Okay, what's the battery life like? I think it's because I've got the battery and the mic at the same time. Really sorry about this. We want to get the audio right because it's an important. Okay. How does that sound now? How does that sound now? That's better, isn't it? Good. The reason for that is I used a battery charger and an audio splitter at the same time, and I think it's bypassing. So anyway, enough of that technical blah. Let's crack on. So lemon water, cheers. Okay, good. Thanks for your patience, and thanks for the super chat already. Gosh, that's very generous of you, Josh ATX. Really appreciate that. Okay, so we just sort of briefly talked about this coronavirus and how it's impacting pretty much everyone around the world, and how we should maybe use that as an opportunity to really engage with our aquascapes. I was fortunate enough to be able to go to Germany this weekend. You may have seen the live stream and also the shop tour from Zoo Flottman. And I was a little bit worried that I would actually get, number one, like the coronavirus on the flight. Luckily, the flight was half empty in the airport, or actually get locked down in Germany and not be able to come back to the UK. But here I am back home, safe and sound. My daughter's just been told her school is shutting. There's loads of teachers are showing the symptoms. So she's not at school right now. My wife, Emma, she has been told to work from home. I'm obviously working from home. I don't know if you can just got distracted then. My auto dose has just come on. I don't know if you can hear that. So it's affecting me and my family straight away, and I'm sure it's affecting you guys. But I kind of coming from it from a positive mindset. Thankfully, I have health. I'm relatively young. My family are all healthy. We do have parents that, if they catch it, this is potentially going to be very dangerous. So I don't know what else to say really. I watch the media. I watch the mainstream media, and the mainstream media is based on almost creating fear. Human beings have evolved. How do I say it? How our society has become so comfortable. We haven't had any world wars for ages. We haven't had any other global pandemics in my lifetime. And so when there's something as big as this event is happening, a lot of us are triggered by it, and hence the panic buying of toilet rolls and hand sanitizer, etc. So it is an interesting time. I personally, like I said, like to look at the positive side. Spend more time with your family, looking after the ones that you love. Be more hygienic. If you are locked in at home, then enjoy your home as much as you can. Enjoy that time with your loved ones. I guess I feel the most sorry for the really elderly, the vulnerable, the homeless, and the vulnerable kind of edges of society. And yeah, that's a very sad thing. But for those of you watching now in the comfort of your home on YouTube, we're in a very privileged position. I'm in a very privileged position to be able to do this and give this message to you. So I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole too much now. I don't really like to talk about politics, etc. That's not what my channel's about. So let's talk about some aquascaping news, shall we? Let's have a look at the questions on here. Anything? Yeah, I've got some guys from Italy here as well. Oh, thanks for all the super chats, guys. Really appreciate it. If you do, George for President, if you do want to see, wow, another super chat. If Spencer Gray, I'm going to read the super chats out because that is a thank you from me. I am self-employed. YouTube is an income for me. I can't sort of perform my regular duties, if you like, because I am kind of isolated here. I'm not going to be doing much travelling in the near future. So I'm going to be relying on YouTube a lot more, actually, for income. So any super chats are appreciated, but that's by no means a begging thing. Don't feel bad if you can't give me a super chat. It's just a way to support me, and I really appreciate it. If you do want, I'm going to do a Q&A session soon, and if you do 100% want an answer to your question, or almost 100%, drop a super chat, and it just gives me I can definitely see your question that way. Otherwise, it just gets lost in the ether. So first of all, I'll give a shout out to Spencer Bray. Thank you so much for the $25 super chat. Thank you, George, for everything. Scaping saved my life, and it is the most positive force in my life. In Ontario, Canada, it's a state of emergency. Treat your fellow humans with love. Keep on scaping. Thank you, Spencer. I really appreciate that. And do you know what? That email you first sent me, I don't think you'll mind me telling the guys. Spencer sent me this email probably nearly 2 years ago now, and it was one of the most heartfelt emails I've ever read. And actually, I think I showed it. I feel a bit emotional right now. Yeah, Spencer suffers from, or had suffered from, mental health issues, and I have as well. This is embarrassing. And aquascaping has absolutely transformed my life, and I know it can transform other people's as well. So keep on scaping, Spencer. Right. Ollie Gould, can you discuss liquid CO2 sometime? Absolutely. Let's discuss it right now. Liquid CO2, it's actually a myth. That liquid CO2, if you actually had liquid CO2, it would have to be, way below freezing, because 0 degrees Celsius to freeze the gas of CO2. So there isn't actually such a thing as liquid CO2. What I think you're referring to is the glutaraldehyde product, which is actually a biocide, and it's actually used as a chemical to clean surgical instruments, as a disinfectant, and actually is dangerous to any livestock. When we buy it as a liquid CO2 or liquid carbon or Seachem XL or Easy Carbo, it is diluted to the point where actually in small doses it doesn't show instant kind of instant ill health or damage to the plants or the fish or the shrimp. But it is a biocide, and it's actually a very good algaecide, and I think that's why it's popular. It's used to help to treat algae issues. If you overdose it, it can really knock out the algae, but there's always this danger of it harming the livestock. So I don't like to use it. I very, very rarely use it these days. I haven't used it over the last year or so. If I did use it, I would only use it as an algaecide. I don't believe it actually helps to grow the plants any better. I haven't seen any scientific data for this. I haven't seen any controlled experiments to say it does improve plant growth or harms plant growth. But in my experience, it hasn't made any difference in terms of plant growth. It has adversely affected algae growth, and I have noticed it adversely affects plant growth, especially with some delicate species, such as true aquatic plants like Vallisneria, Egeria, Cobomba. These plants really struggle with glutaraldehyde. So my advice is actually not to use it at all. If you have algae problems, if you want to use a one-shot killing kind of liquid, then hydrogen peroxide is probably safer. The byproduct is oxygen. It is still a harmful product if overdosed and if you get it on your skin, etc. So do use it with caution. If you do want to use something like that, spot dosing is the way forward. So ideally, do a water change, expose that algae to the air, and then use a small paintbrush and actually paint that product onto the algae, and then that will destroy it that way. So just to summarise, Ollie, thanks for the super chat. I've just discussed liquid CO2. So my advice, not to use it, basically. Thank you, Martin, for the €3 super chat, much appreciated. David Reed, any suggestions for a place to get advice, those new to aquascaping? You're on the right place right now, my YouTube channel. There are some really good YouTube channels out there. YouTube is the kind of obvious choice because videos are very easy to consume. There's some really great content, really high quality content out there. I want to recommend the Green Aqua YouTube channel. This is kind of aimed at the higher
kind of higher end of the hobby. So, CO2 injection, more expensive kind of aquariums and substrates, fertilizers, etc. So it's not kind of suitable potentially for the most people on the strictest budgets. I want to shout out to Yuri's, my German colleague and good friend as well. He has a good YouTube channel. He has really cool pro tips as well, which everyone can use. And there's some, who else? Dennis Wong. Check out Dennis Wong's channel, that's very good. If you want kind of more eye candy, then Tank Tested. If you want kind of fish knowledge, then Rachel O'Leary. If in terms of online stuff, then I would definitely recommend the UK Aquatic Plant Society forum. If someone wants just to write the link in there for me, it's www.ucaps.org/forum. This is, I would say, one of the world's best forums for planted tank and aquascaping advice. I actually co-founded it with Dan Crawford and Graham Edwards back in 2007, and it was actually founded with the help of Tom Barr. And actually, if you want really kind of expert advice and some great articles and another good community, then check out the Barr Report forum. So that's Barr, BARR, report.com/forum, I think, or just type in Barr Report and you'll find that. But loads of great advice out there. I would be a little bit wary of Facebook groups. Lots of well-intended advice, but not always consistent, and maybe sometimes based on folks' own experiences that don't actually have necessarily a lot of experience, if that makes sense. I don't want to kind of diss or put down people that are giving advice out, born out of a good place, but sometimes it isn't the best advice. So if you do want to use Facebook groups as a source of information, then my recommendation would be to kind of align yourself with a couple of people that are known to be very experienced and skilled in their subject matter, and take your kind of line of investigation and questioning from that kind of one source. The potential issue is when you start seeking advice from several different sources, you end up confusing the methodologies, the techniques, and these methods might conflict with one another. So let's say, for example, you go to someone that really likes the low-tech El Natural system with non-CO2 injection, garden soil, low levels of turnover, rainwater, etc. So you get partial advice from them, say something to do with the substrate system, and then you go to someone else, say that's really into high energy systems with really high levels of lighting, high levels of turnover, growing really kind of demanding plants. If you mix up those two different styles, so you start using garden soil in a high energy setup, then you are going to end up with potentially a disaster. So top tip is actually find almost like one mentor and follow their method, and then you're almost guaranteed success because you're going to replicate that proven track record for success. Hopefully that makes sense. And going back to those original kind of sources of information, my own YouTube channel, Green Aqua, Yuri's, and the others that I mentioned, Dennis Wong, and there's some others out there. And those that are watching right now, if you have any other YouTube channels that you really like and you feel are a good source of information, then write that in the comments as well, so David can see those and investigate for himself. So thank you very much again for the super chat. We've got Candy and Lizzie on board. Hi guys, these are my fellow moderators, and I also want to give a shout out to Radu Sampson, who's my colleague from Tropica, who's actually living in Denmark right now. Denmark was one of the first countries to sort of really take, apart from the countries that already suffered from it, they really kind of closed down, and consequently that's why I'm not in Denmark right now. I should be over there doing some tanks for Interzoo. Unfortunately, obviously with this pandemic, travelling is limited for me. Okay. Okay, yeah, Tom Ackrell, so mean to the Facebook groups, George. I'm hurt, lol. Okay, yeah, fair enough. I apologise. There is a really good Facebook group called Tropical Fish Keeping UK, and it actually has a really good team of moderators and admin on there. They're all really experienced and really skilled. So if you can rely on them for the information, then I'm sure you'll get great results. But going back to the conflicting advice, there's 50, 60,000 members on that said Facebook group, and there's, not all of them will be kind of experienced and reliable, shall we say. But, with a good leadership team like from Tom and Ruth, etc., I'm sure, you can't go far wrong. AMD Fish Tanks, how you doing, mate? Are you at 100,000 subscribers yet? Okay, we've got another super chat. Thank you so much. Oh, Mark Door. Oh, we've got loads actually. Sorry, guys. If I've missed you out, let me go back to the beginning. Aquarium Conversations. How can we make aquascaping bigger in the US? Firstly, thanks so much for the super chat. How can you make aquascaping bigger in the US? That's a really good question, and it's something I'm really passionate about because the US is, I think, the biggest potential growth for aquascaping. It's actually I have the biggest viewership from the US as well. So just from a kind of almost a selfish point of view, it's worthwhile me investing in the States as well. There's lots of different approaches to grow aquascaping. If you're talking just from your own personal point of view, then use social media. It's free. Set up an Instagram account if you haven't got one already. Create your own Facebook page or even group. Create a website. That's not free necessarily, but use maybe even a YouTube channel. Use all of these free kind of marketing tools to your advantage, and then just spread the word of mouth. It's the easiest way to spread something is, electronically via the web, obviously. If you really want to kind of connect people face to face, it seems a bit weird talking about that right now in today's environment, but try to set up almost community groups. I tell you something that the US has much better than the UK is their clubs and societies. They have lots of them. They're well attended. They're well supported. I don't know if it's like a geographical thing, because of this, the country is so huge and spread. They have to kind of have this kind of system to interact with these actual physical meetings, which they have quite frequently. Join a club, and then use that to one-to-one engage with people. From a retail perspective, if you are a skilled aquascaper or someone that is up and coming, then I'd really want to focus my attention on striking up a relationship with that store, especially if they either stock good aquascaping materials already or have the potential to, and then potentially offer your services for free. Go to them with your Instagram photos and say, look, this is what I can achieve for you. Let's do a workshop. Create an open day and go from there. If the store, appreciates your work, they can see what you're doing, then hopefully they'll support the event. You'll have access, hopefully unlimited access to their hardscape and plants, aquarium, etc. And you can actually have your own workshop. Invite as many people as you can. There'll hopefully be lots of beginners there that will be inspired to create their own aquascapes. And then this is kind of how you can grow it from grassroots level. This is probably my preferred method because actually there's so many Instagram accounts out there, Facebook groups, etc. It's quite hard to stand out. It's quite hard to have maybe that level of impact versus a one-to-one physical kind of meeting. So a couple of different approaches there, virtually and in reality. Try to mix them up maybe. But definitely, if you are a skilled aquascaper, definitely consider setting up your own kind of workshop in a local store. They can only say no, but hopefully they'll say yes, and then you can maybe start your own kind of little following that way, and then it can grow from there. My own kind of story was that it's different to when I started. Facebook and Instagram weren't a thing. I don't know how it would be if I started right now. But I started on the forums and just posting relentlessly pictures of my tanks, my journey. You know, there was actual journals where you could document your entire kind of process of setting the tank up from scratch, etc., which we kind of do via YouTube now, or even Instagram, Facebook. And then I kind of got noticed by magazines and things like that. But it sounds really cheesy and corny, but it's just real hard work, putting in the hours, practicing. You know, don't expect you know, big companies to come knocking on your door to give you stuff unless you've put in the work, unless you've proven yourself, you've created lots of, you know, nice aquascapes, you've promoted them in the right way, you've communicated with your community in the right way. You know, I like to be professional in the way I communicate most of the time. You know, I have fun as well, etc. But if you want to kind of stand out for the right reasons, then, you know, maybe try to come across as someone that knows what they're talking about, with credibility and yeah, just a little bit of a sense of professionalism. That's my own advice. You know, there are people that make it without, you know, just really having fun and not really potentially knowing a lot of the science or the background behind the topic, and, you know, relying on kind of high impact, beautiful tanks and really great content, but more kind of from an entertainment point of view rather than an educational point of view. They're both inspirational, which is great, and I think there's room for everyone in this space. But just from my personal perspective, I come at the hobby, especially from my past as well, from more of a, I don't want to say serious because it sounds a bit serious, but more of a, and I don't want to say professional, that sounds a bit elitist as well, but just more thoughtful, more of a thoughtful kind of perspective, if that makes sense. I'm really rambling now, and I should have worn my Keep On Rambling t-shirt. Yeah, sorry about the crying earlier, that was a bit embarrassing. Yuri's, I've got to give a shout out to my mate Yuri's. Most of you know Yuri's. Really looked after me at the weekend. Exclusive for you guys, actually. I have, we recorded a Meet the Scaper interview from three camera angles, all digital SLR cameras, and there's a total of 30 gigabytes of video. So I've sent that off to a good friend of mine, S Whiskey, Jimmy Gimbal. You may know him, Lizzie Block's boyfriend. Really great guy, and he's agreed to edit these videos for me. I do want to pay him, but he never asked for payment, which is it was a bit awkward. But maybe I can pay him in some other way. But yeah, hopefully this will be edited fairly soon, and got some really great content from Yuri's with this Meet the Scaper interview. We talked some beginner tips. We talked about his experiences with Florestas Submersus, Amano's last giant nature aquarium from Lisbon. And we talked about Moss Cotton as well, his excellent t-shirt and merch brand as well. So you can look forward to it's going to be at least half an hour long interview. So really excited to bring that one to you soon. And another exclusive today, I've just finished editing the vlog that I recorded from Scapers Lounge. Thanks for watching the live stream from that if you did, 2.5 hours long. And again, shout out to Yuri's for helping so much with that, with his excellent camera work. And he also helped with the camera work with the Zoo Flopman vlog as well. So I owe a lot of thanks and gratitude to Yuri's. Really great guy, great aquascaper. Check out his channel if you haven't already. Really great content and super nice guy. So thanks for the super chat, Yuri's. Mark Dorr, shout out to another really talented UK scaper. He's working his half my day's wages, £1.99. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Really love Mark. Mark's a real character. Met Mark at Crowder's Aquatics, a couple of workshops I've done there over the last couple of years. Really great guy. I think he's an ex-reef keeper, and now he's a high-tech kind of planted tank guy and super talented. So shout out to Mark. Thanks for the links, all the moderators doing a great job. The The comments are flying in thick and fast. Really appreciate them, guys. Thank you. All Serpa Designs here. Hello, mate. Shout out to Tanner Serpa. What a great guy. Met him in Chicago at Aquascape last year. Really great guy. I think he's just hit 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. Really inspirational. His videos are amazing. They're like the best how-to videos, I think, in all the kind of aquarium, terrarium kind of space out there. And he definitely deserves the 500,000 subs. So shout out to Serpa. I love your content, mate. I have to confess, I don't watch much YouTube content for the hobby. I prefer to create rather than consume, if that makes sense. So I'll watch the occasional Green Aqua, Yuri's, MD fish tanks, and occasionally I'll watch the kind of bigger channels, even Joey, King of DIY, to see what he's up to. But I try not to. I don't try not to watch them. I just choose not to watch them regularly because, you know, I'd rather spend the time creating stuff myself. I think actually by watching a lot of other people's content in the same kind of genre as you have the potential, it influences your own kind of style, and I prefer to kind of tread my own path in that way, if that makes sense. I do watch a lot of wellness, health and wellness. I'm into kind of self-improvement, nutrition, biohacking, longevity, ancestral living. That's where I spend a lot of my time. I listen to audiobooks whenever I'm walking Tommy, my dog, or doing the washing up or housework, or even sometimes aquarium maintenance. I'll have an audiobook on the go. So at the moment I'm listening to about 8 different audiobooks. One on sleeping, why we sleep it's called. One on history, the latest Homo Deus by I can't remember his name. It's a weird name, Yuval something. But I have a really diverse kind of interest in stuff. So I always want to learn new stuff, not just on planted tanks and aquascaping, in general kind of health and wellness and stuff. I think that comes from, okay, let's talk about something a bit more serious. Have a glass of water. Hopefully I'm not going to cry again. So my dad, he passed away about 3 years ago, and he was actually a super healthy guy. He was a marathon runner. He was in the army. He was a high achiever, high performer. A good diet, didn't drink much, didn't smoke. Had what we call, what you think was a healthy diet, low fat diet. And he actually suffered from heart disease, had a pacemaker fitted, and then he died really quickly of cancer. And I'm not saying that for sympathy or anything like that. I'm saying it for a fact, and kind of this is why I'm almost on the journey that I'm on, or definitely an influencing factor of this health and wellness journey that I'm on. It made me realise actually you can kind of live your life in accordance with what you think is a healthy approach. Lots of cardio exercise, low fat diet, etc. But it didn't work for him. Heart disease and cancer, 2 of the biggest killers in the world. And then my grandmother, my grandmother, she has Alzheimer's. So probably the third biggest killer. So I'm thinking, wow, the likelihood of me getting a chronic disease is super high. What can I do to live longer, really, and be the best dad, the best husband, and the best kind of guy I can for the world around me? And so I really focused a lot on this health and well-being aspect. And I have to give a shout out to the guys from Aquarium Design Group, Mike and Jeff Senske, who, Jeff in particular, is really into his biohacking and this kind of high-fat, low-carb diet. And I don't want to preach or tell you how to live your lives, but this is something that's worked for me. So I've cut out carbohydrates massively, hardly ever have any sugar, a little bit of chocolate now and again. Cut down on drinking massively, really focusing on good sleep, good exercise, and I feel so much better for it. I used to be almost addicted to running, and then I looked into this thing called chronic cardio, And actually too much cardio, steady state cardio, is actually kind of proven to be really bad for you. So now I do much kind of less cardio exercise, more strength exercise. Actually, I just literally do push-ups, squats, normally in the garden in bare feet, normally first thing in the morning. It's part of my morning routine. And I'll do some swimming, and occasionally I'll go for a run in the sunshine, but rarely more than half an hour at a time. And that's kind of my regime, and I feel so much better for it. So I just digress there massively, but yeah, it's just worked for me. Health and well-being is a really important part of life. And obviously with today's pandemic, you know, a stronger immune system is really important, and the mental health and the kind of spiritual health. You know, I'm not massively religious, but I believe, you know, in kind of spirituality. You know, we share this planet together, and we're all part of this same kind of, you know, I don't know how to describe it. I don't think I've got the words to describe it. But yeah, I'm rambling again. Let's go back to aquascaping. Okay. We've got some more super chats. Thank you so much. Let's go through them one at a time so I don't miss any of you. George, if you can't travel overseas, might have time to visit MD Fish Tank's new studio. That tank beside you is beautiful. Thank you so much. Yes, I have visited Mark before. I do really want to see him again. He actually doesn't live too far away from my mum, so that would be a perfect opportunity, and he can rest assured there'll be a collaboration at some point, I'm sure. Okay, more super chats. Okay, Bravehearts 1986. Hey George, I'm new to the hobby. Can I grow hairgrass and Monte Carlo with proper substrate and dosing of liquid fertiliser in a nano tank? Simple answer is yes, but to stand the best chance of success, I would recommend CO2 injection. If it's a nano tank, good news, you can get a fairly inexpensive kind of nano kit, which shouldn't set you back too much. Failing that, it's even worth trying the yeast-based system. So just Google DIY CO2 injection aquarium or something like that. Basically a plastic bottle with a lid, put some sugar and yeast in there and some water, get an airline, make sure it's all sealed, get a diffuser, and then that's your CO2. The danger is it's fluctuating levels because it's really hard to create a consistent level with this yeast-based system. But you'll probably get better results with that than not having any CO2 at all. But if you can, just maybe try to save up. If you're on a limited budget, save up for the CO2 injection. Always recommend CO2 injection to anyone that's serious about growing aquarium plants. If they want to get the best chance of success with their aquarium plants, have the healthiest and best growth, CO2 injection is the way forward. Thank you for the super chat, Braveheart. Really appreciate it. Hello from Greece, Rec Studio GR. Hope you're well over there. Thanks for the super chat. Recommended algae killer. This is a great answer. Plant growth. Really, really healthy plant growth. Loads of it. This is the best thing to kill algae. It'll actually kill algae as well. It's a long process. It won't happen overnight. And this is another lesson, actually. You know, people want to know the instant solution for stuff. Sometimes there isn't one. If you want that solution to last in the long term, sometimes it takes a long time to get to there. So by focusing on really healthy plant growth, good maintenance, that will kill the algae. Algae is caused by in a planted tank, algae is caused by a few things, but mainly poor plant growth and poor maintenance. If you've nailed those two things, then algae won't stand a chance. If you really want to kind of cheat, then we talked about liquid carbon and hydrogen peroxide. Those are potential. Personally, I'd avoid liquid carbon and go down the hydrogen peroxide route. If you Google hydrogen peroxide algae killer or aquarium algae problem, hydrogen peroxide, then you'll get some good answers there, I'm sure. Okay, I think we're good on the super chats. Thank you so much. Apologies if I've missed anyone. Okay, I'm going to try and look for a pertinent question. There's loads coming in. Hit the like, please, says Candy. Candy, I love you. You are the best moderator, apart from Lizzie and Madhu. Appreciate it. Oh, Miss JK, sorry, you're from Denmark. I did see it. JK, write down your question again so I can see it. I promise I'll keep an eye on it. Come on, JK, you can do it. How's Denmark doing anyway? I hope it's okay over there. I know you guys have been on lockdown as well. Oh, come on, JK, what is it? This is embarrassing. Can someone look through the chat? There's a user called JK, capital letters. They left a super chat question and I've forgotten to read it out. Ah, here we are. Filters for nano tanks. Apologies for missing your super chat question. Depends on the size of the nano tank. I consider a nano tank anything from 0 to sort of 60 litres. Actually, at the 60 litre end, I'd use an external canister filter. Awase support my channel, so I will mention those guys. They do the Filto Smart, which is really suitable for smaller aquariums. Actually, a couple of the models come with a built-in heater as well, which is perfect. So look out for that. The Awase Filto Smart. Apart from that, you could use an internal internal filter. I think any good quality brand. So you have Eheim, Tetra, Hydor, I think Awase as well did their own internal heaters, and even I think their internal filter comes with a built-in heater as well, which I really love. But definitely recommend Awase if you can get hold of them. If you're from Denmark, I'm pretty sure Unimarte stock Awase, and also the other Danish shop. I've actually done a workshop there. Oh, what's it called? Oh, it's embarrassing. Can't think of the name. It'll come to me when I'm not thinking about it. But yeah, Awase, failing that, Eheim, very good quality. Anything that's kind of rated, it'll say on the box what it's rated for. But I tend to kind of overfilter deliberately for circulation. Circulation is actually almost more important than the filtration in the planted aquarium, because the plants do so much of that biological filtration. I've come up with this theory that actually you should almost sometimes, on a really heavily planted tank, I can guarantee if I removed all of the biological media out of my external filter, this would still be fine, because the plants are doing almost all of the biological filtration. The ammonia gets converted, the plants will use that ammonia before probably the filter bacteria can. So can you see, I don't know if you can see, there's the male and female apistogramma there, a pair. There's actually some babies in there as well right now. Beautiful fish. Okay, let's have a look at some more questions. David Reed, do you need extra water movement with just your Awase 600 in your 1200? No, at the moment you can see the results. I kind of feel there should be a little bit more circulation in there, but you can't really argue with the result, can you? I think it's fine. I did used to have two 600s in there, but at the moment I'm really happy with it. So it seems to work. There's probably only 4 times the tank's turnover in here at the moment. I try to go for 10 times, so it's much less circulation I'd normally aim for, but it seems to be working. And I always recommend, at least 5 times turnover, but hopefully 10 times turnover. Favourite fish food? Don't really have one. I've tried dozens of different brands over the years. At the moment, I'm using Fish Science, and I've just been given a load from Yuri's actually, who got his from a German fish wholesaler, Diesenbach, and It's just like almost like a powder. Let me get it for you actually. I don't know if Yuri's is watching, but he gave me this. Such a nice guy. He gave me this little fish food dispenser. So it's like a powdered food in here, and then it's got a plunger here. Don't know if you can see that. And then you just press it down really quickly. A little bit of powder pops out, and then away you go. Easy. Sean Farrell, which fish store would you visit in Ireland on your book tour? I think Seahorse, they're amazing. One of the best stores actually I've ever been to in terms of their diverse kind of fish keeping knowledge. They've got discus, they've got reef, they've got betters, aquascaping, cichlid. They've got everything in there in one really big store, but all to a high quality, which is quite unique. Alt says, have I heard of Event 201? No, I haven't. Yuri's. Just watch Pete McKinnon's newest video and return to the live stream to find George talking at me. Yeah. Updates on your book, says Radu. Everyone seems interested in the book and maybe a tour. Yes, I'm still going backwards and forwards with the editor. I needed to make some adjustments to the whole book. So they wanted it more, it was almost, I think, a little bit too technical and kind of textbook-like. They wanted some more anecdotes, making it a little bit more relatable, I think, which is fair comment. I want the book to appeal to a wider range as possible, and I kept it quite sort of matter of fact. So basically got to rewrite the whole thing. Not really, just got to add a few anecdotes, so it's not too bad. Got some photos to sort of finalise on the step-by-steps and things like that. But it's nearly done, and still hoping for a summer release, a late summer release. And then my idea is I'd really love to do a world tour. Let's see what happens over the next few months with the pandemic. But ideally start off on the west coast of the United States, work my way across to the east. Put in the comments actually what stores you think I should visit. There's a couple in Seattle that I really like the look of, and then working my way across, and then obviously end up on the east coast, and then come over to Europe, start off in Ireland, UK, France, Germany, Poland, and all the way across kind of Europe, and then maybe even Asia. So pretty epic potential tour, and then take a load of books with me to sign and for you guys. Hopefully, it'd be great to meet you. Really would love it. I'd love to meet all of you, and hopefully you'd be interested in my book. The book's really, if you've watched my content over the years, it's kind of just a concise version of all the methods that I talk about on my channel. So you might not learn a lot in terms of, technical information. A lot of it I talk about on the channel, but I think it's really nice to have it in one book. There's some beautiful photography in there. And yeah, I'm just really excited about having a book, being an author. I've written for about 6 different magazines across the world. I wrote for Practical Fish Keeping magazine for about 12 years or so. I think I've probably written over 1 million words altogether on aquascaping and planted tanks. So, but to have it all in one book, I think it's really cool. And I'm really excited to share it with you guys. Kay Friedrich, are you coming to Hamburg? I think Magdeburg, I think there's not as far as I know, but if there's a good shop there, then maybe I'll go. I'm just curious, how many red colanders do you have? Just the one? That colander is 16 years old, I think now. Gemma Simmons Garland. Hi George, in County Durham there is a new independent aquascaping store called Horizon Aquatics, which I recommend. Yes, I've been in contact with those guys quite a lot. I've helped them out with some suppliers and chatted with Nicole in particular. So yeah, I know of those guys, and I was hoping to do a workshop there, but obviously in the current climate I won't be doing one anytime soon, unfortunately. Edward Gurkog, hi mate, how you doing? How often do I clean the filter on this tank? Every week I clean the pre-filter. I haven't cleaned the actual inside of the filter for about 2 years. I don't recommend that for everyone, but because the Aquascape has a quick release pre-filter which clogs all of the mechanical debris before it gets into the main part of the filter, you keep that really clean and everything else stays really clean. So keep that. I'm quite religious about keeping the pre-filter clean, otherwise it blocks the flow, blocks the circulation. Yeah, tank is looking quite good, isn't it, at the moment? Really happy with it. Stephen Gould, clean that filter tubing. Yeah, that's clean for me. Yeah, talked about the book already. Thank you for all the lovely comments, guys. Really appreciate that. Oh, we've got another super chat. Oh, another one. God, they're not coming through. I can't keep up. You're so generous. I really appreciate it. Geordie Scaper. Hi, George. I spend my days trying to justify why I should stick around, and this hobby really does keep me going, give me a real sense of purpose. Absolutely identify with that. A sense of purpose is really important in this life. You know, I've happened to have found mine, which is aquascaping, and then everything else kind of falls in place after you found your purpose. So yeah, I'm really super grateful for aquascaping. Varshil MVH Pets. Oh, and Geordie Scaper, by the way, has a up and coming YouTube channel, so check him out. Really great guy. In particular, I really enjoyed the vlog he did of Horizon Aquatics. So check that out. Really great guy. Varshil MVH Pets. Any tip for 125 gallon tank aquascape for monster fish? Yeah, I mean, it depends on the species of fish. And it depends what you mean by monster fish. I mean, monster fish to me are fish that would actually outgrow 125 gallon. But if they're going to be appropriately sized fish, it's really hard to give you an idea without knowing what species of fish you want to keep. Just some basic guidelines. When you're aquascaping for fish, think about, will the fish eat the plants? If they do, then make sure you use super hardy plants like Anubias, maybe Crinum, Java fern, just really tough plants. If they're not herbivorous and they don't eat the plants, then you can just scape whatever way you like. But think about the length to the height weight ratio of the tank. So if the tank's really long and shallow, then use slender, thinner fish that swim up and down the tank. That just suits the ratio. If it's a taller tank, then think about taller bodied fish. So maybe angelfish, discus, that sort of thing. Just a couple of things to bear in mind. This is a good question. Pira89, how do you keep a blighted tank free from mulm, especially with a carpet of plants? So I don't know if you guys have seen me maintain this before, but I have a filter inlet with a hose attached and I siphon it outside, and then I actually wave my hand just above the carpet. It lifts up all the mulm and then that siphons out as part of the water change. Really simple. Busy today at the hospital. Yeah, I bet. Steve Lewis, George, I'm following you on Instagram. Is there a way I can send you a picture of a tank that I just hardscaped? I would love to get feedback on it. I'd love to help you, and I'd love to say send it here, but if I did that, I'd have to do it for everyone, and then I'd end up with thousands of images of hardscape. So I reluctantly say you could send me the image via Instagram. It sounds awful, but I have notifications turned off, and I literally get hundreds of messages a day. I can't deal with them all, but maybe I need a manager. Radu. What I will say is, if you're on Facebook, go onto the Tropical Fish Keeping UK Facebook page, and then if you type in @George Space Farmer, I'll get a notification, and then if I have the capacity to, I'll have a look and then leave feedback there. That's probably the fairest way. And that's kind of what I recommend any of you do. That's probably one of the Facebook groups that I'm most active on, Tropical Fish Keeping UK. If you type in @George_Farmer, then it should tag me, and then I'll get notification. If I have time, then I'll definitely do my best to look at anything you tag me in. But I can't promise anything. You know, I only have so much energy to use, and I have to kind of divide it up in the best way I think throughout the day. So apologies if I can't reply to individuals like that. Awase UK, what is the Geordie Scapers channel address? I don't know. Mark, if you're on, you actually can't find it by typing in Geordie Scaper. I know I've tried it. If anyone can jump on YouTube, let me see if I can find it right now for you. Sorry about this, but it's quite important. So actually, a bit of a heads up for you. I'm going to be scaping a new Awase tank soon. So Awase Style Line, which is their kind of budget-friendly entry into aquariums. So they have the High Line, which I have my Malawi cichlid tank just behind the camera. This is like a premium product, quite expensive, relatively speaking. They come out with the Style Line, which is kind of a mid-price point. So I'm scaping one of those next week. It's going to be a budget-friendly scape, so super excited about that. I will be doing a video for my own channel and also for Awase, so something to look forward to. Here we go. What I'm going to do, because I talked about this vlog in particular for Horizon Aquatics, I'm going to put a link myself here. Boom, there we go. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name correctly. Guglielmo Ganari. Hi George, what happened to James Finley of the Green Machine? He retired, basically. Simple as that. Boone May, does substrate affect green water, or does the temperature affect it? Green water is normally just caused by some nutrient imbalance. Green water is actually single cell algae, and you can get rid of it by UV sterilisation, blackout, or just lots of water changes. That is a sexy tank, thank you very much. Andrew W, hey George, you may have already addressed this, but our plans from Dallas Aquashella still tentatively happening. I don't want to comment on that. I don't know the facts, so I can't comment on that, I'm afraid, sorry. Tom A, Tom Ackrell, we also have Planted Tank Keeping UK if you want more focused aquascaping group. That might help George out. Yeah, actually, forget what I said about Tropical Fish Keeping UK. Go on to Planted Tank Keeping UK. Yeah, look, check out Tom's post just there. Tom, feel free to leave a link to that. Moderators, let him leave a link because it is a good group, and I tried to promote these Facebook groups in particular. Thank you, Candy, you legend. Candy, make sure when I do my book tour in the States, make sure you come to the bookstore, to the aquascaping store, and I'll give you a signed copy, because do you know what? Moderating these sort of things is a thankless task. They don't get paid, so it's the least I can do to give something back to these lovely moderators. So shout out again to Candy, Lizzie and Radu. Okay, so many questions. Oof, crazy. I'm going to give you a kind of a 10-minute warning, guys, because I need to, there's a school run, and the two boys, Emma's sons, my stepsons, are still at school, although it's probably a matter of time before that school shuts down. But yeah, I need to prepare for that. So okay. Radu, I don't know if you're still at Tropica, but Trolls has tried WhatsApp message and audio calling me, so if you can just let him know I'm in the middle of a live stream right now. In fact, speaking of which, any updates on the Tropica tanks? Not yet. I'm not at Tropica right now, of course. I'm at home They are still being maintained and looked after. I'm getting some video footage of them sent over to me from Tropicare, so I'll be able to give an update video on that soon. Interzoo has been postponed. Other than that, I can't really give you any updates, I'm afraid. Neil Sutherland, hi George, do you think a Wase 100 with internal heater will be okay for Denelay 10 gallon nano tank? Yes, should be fine. Is there a difference between scaping open rimless tank and the closed one like the style line, different styles? The main difference with scaping a rimless tank is that you can have stuff coming out the top, and you can, depending on how high the tank is when you look at it, depends on if you can see into the tank or not. So just bear that in mind. Other than that, you're still looking at a kind of, whatever ratio of length to height and depth of water. So just scape it however you like. Yeah, a lot of people comment on how good the tank's looking right now. It is looking good. One of the advantages of staying at home more is I can look at it more and maintain it more often. So this is a good learning point, actually. This tank used to be at the other side of the room, and I didn't actually see it much. It was kind of, you just kind of walk past it. But we had a really big kind of rearrange in the living space here. So I've moved my kind of office desk here, which is right near the tank. And I just find myself looking at it more, which means I maintain it more because I can see algae. I know it needs a water change or more fertilizer, or just through observing, you can see what needs to happen. And so that's why it's looking better, because I'm spending more time looking at it and then by default more time maintaining it. I do have a plan for an update video. I do want to completely update this carpeting plant here. This is Helanthium tenellum, and I've got a few little sprigs of the Hydrocotyl verticillata in there. I do want to completely refresh this with some other plants. Let me know what you think I should refresh it with. I do really like this tenellum, so I'll definitely use that again, but I might mix it up with some different species. I actually quite fancy trying some ranunculus in there as well. It's a plant I've used in the last few scapes that I've done for workshops and clients, so I really like the way it, similar growth to this, it sends up a little stem and then a little umbrella, but the ranunculus has like a palm tree kind of shape umbrella rather than about that. Keep getting interrupted on my phone even though there's do not disturbs on. Okay, another 5 minutes or so, guys. As it's classed as a medium plant. Oh. Is it hard to grow? It's just hard to say. No, not really. Good lighting, you'll get the best sort of colour rendition. Is the stream kind of lagging, guys? Can you hear me still? Let me know if the stream's lagging. It's frozen on my screen now. Let me see if I can refresh that. Oh, I think we're okay. Apologies. Those are different questions coming in. Stream is back now. Good, that's fine. I pay a fortune for decent internet here and it still lags, frustrating. Maybe it's got coronavirus. This is a good question. Reinald Sayerman. Hi George, who are your biggest influences in the aquascape world? When, how and why? Absolutely, I'm going to end on this note because it's probably the most important note for me. This guy here, Takashi Amano, the godfather of aquascaping as far as I'm concerned, completely revolutionised the way we think about aquariums, using the nature aquarium philosophy of grabbing an essence of nature from outside, putting it into your aquarium, connecting with nature in a unique way that's so powerful yet calming, therapeutic. Yeah, just really, really real game changer, life-changing moment for me when I first saw Nature Aquarium. I thought, I like aquariums, but that is what I want to do. And yeah, relentlessly pursued Nature Aquarium philosophy, style of aquascaping, until, you know, we are where we are right now with this. You know, this is really good. It's one of my best scapes, I'd say. And having the opportunity to share it with you guys, you know, that it's all down to him, really. He led the way. He was an absolute inspirational leader, great businessman. Really sad that I never got to meet him. And yeah, if you want to buy any books by him, then please do, you know, look at his works. There are other aquascapers out there now which are arguably more skilled. You know, you can potentially find an aquascape with more detail, with more impact. But in terms of leading the way, then Takashi Amano is absolutely the guy for me. And probably any other aquascaper out there owe their craft to that leader. Yeah, I was really, really upset when he passed away. He died of cancer. He was only 61 years old. He had health issues for a couple of years. Yeah, and it was really, really sad. He left too early, but he left his legacy. You know, there's thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of aquascapers out there, hobbyists, which use lessons that he gave the world now still, and his legend lives on. You know, we still have Floresta Submersus, the largest nature aquarium in the world. You know, I want to go there again. I want to make a documentary film on it. That's the goal eventually. Maybe with Balash and Yuri's, that'd be cool. So yeah, I'll leave it there, guys. Takashi Amano, check him out. Thank you to Mr. Amano for passing his legacy on and allowing me to execute my passion to hopefully inspire and educate you guys about aquascaping. So I'm going to say cheerio now. Thank you so much to everyone for watching. Going back to the original kind of point about the COVID-19 coronavirus that's spreading across the world, I hope you can stay safe. I hope your loved ones can stay safe. Enjoy your aquariums more, enjoy your loved ones even more. Don't take anything for granted. Be grateful for what you do have, and you take care. Keep on scaping. Cheerio.